Hey, what's going on, you guys? Chad Christian coming at you with another exciting review video. Today we're going to be reviewing the iPhone 8 Plus. As you can see, I have it in this beautiful gold version. This is the 64 gig variant, but you can get it in other sizes, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Should this be your next phone? I think it should, and we're going to talk about that today. If you're using an iPhone 6, 6S, or a 7, or maybe even an older generation, should you buy this? Let's talk about that now in my full review video. Let's get to it. So let's go over some of the specs and then we can dive right into the new changes in more detail. This phone is rocking dual speakers just like it was in the last generation, but the sound is a little bit more full and it has some more bass to it. This still has water resistance and is IP67. The display is still a 5.5-inch 1080p LCD panel, but now it has True Tone, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. The battery is a 2691 milliamp capacity, but it has the best battery life of all the phones that are out there right now. Now the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus can be bought in a 64 or a 256 gig version. And yes, there is still no headphone jack. Now here's a list of prices for each of the phones and the colors that you can choose from. So now that we've got some of the hardware specs out of the way, let's talk about what makes this the best iPhone that has been released so far. It has a glass back. Not only does it feel good in the hand, but because it's glass, it allows for wireless charging. So this is the first iPhone that's ever allowed wireless charging. Sure, the Android phones have had it for a long time, but the fact that now iPhone lovers and iOS users get this, it's a great upgrade. So the new iPhone allows for faster charging, but unfortunately Apple doesn't include that in the box. So if you want your phone to charge faster, I'll leave a link down below where you can purchase that. Now let's talk about this display. This year they've introduced True Tone display like you've seen on the previous iPad Pros. True Tone is one of those features on your phone that you don't realize that you want it or need it until you use it, and then you can't go back. So just like with my iPad Pro when I upgraded to that and it had True Tone, and now when I look at an older iPad Mini or iPad 4 or iPad Air, it doesn't look the same to me at all. It's really hard for me to go back and look at my iPhone 7 or iPhone 6S Plus without having that True Tone display. So once you have it, you'll love it. Now, one of the nicest features this year is this blazing new processor. It's an A11 Bionic chip. This processor has 6 cores instead of 4. 2 are for high performance and 4 are for high efficiency, which means you're going to get a 25 and 70% increase in speeds depending on the cores. Now the other thing that makes that nice is that means that all 6 of these cores can be utilized at the same time instead of just using high performance or the high efficiency, which makes this a way faster processor. Now let's talk about one of the biggest reasons why, if you're using an iPhone 7 or 6S or previous generation phone, you should upgrade. So not only do you have wireless charging, a faster processor, but this camera. The rear cameras are the same on the iPhone 8 with a single lens, and the iPhone 8 Plus has a dual lens setup, which is a 12 megapixel with an f1.8 aperture, and the tele-lens is an f2.8. Like the older generation, only the single lens has optical image stabilization. Now the flash system this year gets an upgrade and uses what they call slow sync. This allows a slow shutter speed with a short probe light that helps expose the subject and the background. So instead of just taking the flash and lighting everything up and then kind of getting that blown out look, this helps to distinguish with that slower shutter speed the proper lighting for background and foreground. Now, of course, one of the nice cool features is the portrait mode, which also allows for different versions of lighting that you can do. Now, the game changer for this camera, this is the first camera phone that allows for 4K at 60 frames per second. Now, we've seen other 4K cameras come out on your phones, but never at 60 frames per second. Well, what does that mean? That means if you're shooting in that high resolution quality, you can get those really nice slow-mo effects. And if you're gonna use slow-mo, the nice thing with this as well is that it'll shoot 1080p at 240 frames per second. So that is gonna make for some incredibly smooth and vivid pictures and video. Now also another thing on the camera to know is that HDR is built in. You do not have to turn HDR on or off, it's always on. And of course, because it's using this super fast camera system, this will take as many pictures as long as you hold onto the button, even with the HDR mode turned on. So you don't have to think about it anymore. It's always just there. Now with this faster processor and better camera system, this allows for AR. So AR now is built right into the phone, and let me show you some cool examples of that action right here. These are some of the latest AR titles and things that you can do with your phone that you can't simply do with any other phone right now. So even with the iPhone X coming out soon, I think that this phone has so much to offer between wireless charging, a fantastic camera system, the new True Tone display. If you're on the fence, you have an iPhone 6S or previous generation, this is a definite thumbs up and an immediate buy. If you're sitting on the fence and you've got an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, you might want to wait if you don't mind spending the extra $200 to get the iPhone X. But just remember too that the iPhone X is going to be very limited quantity when it first comes out, and the demand is going to be huge. So if you're ready for an upgrade and you have it in your budget, I'd say go ahead and get this iPhone 8 Plus. You won't regret it. It's an absolutely fantastic system. The design has been the same for the last 4 years, but I think with these premium features and updates, it's definitely worth your buying dollars. So that's going to do it for my review video today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you click that thumbs up and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.